Pat McAfee. The reason why people were clamoring for me to chime in about him is because you have so many people that are looking at what he's getting paid. It's no secret that even though you don't know the numbers that I make, even though I'm sure a lot of you think you know, it's clearly more than I'm making.
Wow, I did not expect Stephen A. to actually admit publicly that Pat McAfee is going to be bringing in more money per year than he is at ESPN. For context, Smith's salary is reportedly between $8 million to $12 million a year. But McAfee, he told ESPN, "Show me the money." And he got it. According to New York Post, he's making $85 million over 5 years. But why would he leave his FanDuel partnership, which paid him $120 million over 4 years? Part of the reason why is so he could spend more time with his wife and newborn and be at home more. But maybe there's another reason why, according to the Group Chat podcast.
I know why his relevance went down.
He's gone viral because of his relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I just think ESPN is still a massive platform. He's basically now the face of ESPN.
No, Stephen A. Smith still is.
Not by dollars. Stephen A. Smith ain't making that kind of money.
Stephen A., what do you have to say about that? Two things. Number one, I don't give a damn. He negotiated his deal a few weeks ago. I negotiated my deal a few years ago. Climate is different. Market is different. Different things are happening. The situation is not the same. That's only one of the reasons it's not the same.
All right, two things here. So one, I believe him when he says, I don't give a damn, because he understands how the game is played. The market value increases as time goes on. It's like in the NFL, when a quarterback gets a massive deal, let's say in 2018 for, 5 years, $300 million, the player that's coming after him in like 2022, they're going to get a whopping more because of the market value and the increase in revenue and profit. And so I don't think he actually is worried, because he realizes when his deal is up in 2024, if the numbers are correct according to New York Post, that he's going to get a whole lot more from ESPN than Pat McAfee is. And that's just how the game works. And it makes sense because his value to ESPN is enormous. I mean, they got that man working like 345 days a year. He is the mothership. You cannot go on ESPN's platforms and miss him. They have him working like a dog. Now let's get into the other reason why he feels the situations with him and Pat McAfee aren't the same.
Now, I know there are those of you that will sit up there and say, that's BS. Disney announced months ago it's laying off 7,000 people. It's trying to make up for $5.5 billion in losses because of the pandemic, where parks were closed and movie theaters were closed and revenue was compromised and stuff like that. And anybody under the Disney umbrella has to pay a price. How could they go and they could make a deal like this?
The reason they're making this deal is for really good business. Optically, it looks horrible when you're costing or you're laying off thousands of people that have been the cornerstones of your company in some cases, but this is a business move because they feel like Pat McAfee's brand and his gravitas and free-spirited nature is going to lead to enormous profits and revenue. So let's just give you context. As of May 2023, Pat McAfee's show has 1.49 billion views. And on his YouTube show, as of now, they have 2.2 million subscribers. So ESPN is hoping that translates to their brand, where they can make a ridiculous amount of profits and bring in a new audience. And yes, Stephen A., he'll be fine. He's not worried.
How many times have I told y'all I'm a big boy? I've been to hell and back. This does not faze me at all, for several reasons. Number one, Pat McAfee deserves it. You looking for some haterade here, wrong place.
He ain't lying, y'all, especially considering the journey he took to get to the place where he's at now.
I started out as a high school reporter. Before that, I was an intern at 3 different locations. I lived off of tuna fish and Kool-Aid. I worked in Archdale, North Carolina. I started off as a high school writer. I went to college. I went covering colleges. And then from there, I was a backup NBA writer before being an NBA beat writer, before being an NBA columnist, before becoming a general sports columnist, one of only 21 African Americans in American history at the time to be in that position. I climbed from the gutter.
Oof, that got me ready to run through a brick wall. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's motivational at its finest. But the moral of the story is Pat McAfee or Stephen A. Smith has no reason to hate on McAfee. He knows that man works his butt off and has done it in his own edgy and unique way. But what I will say is that Stephen A. is certainly angling to get multiple Brinks trucks of cash from ESPN when his contract is up. Because there is no world where it makes sense that with the amount of time that Stephen A. is on ESPN's platforms, radio, TV, different alternate programs on their platforms, ESPN Plus, for him to be making less than McAfee, because McAfee is not going to be as committed, not as committed, but he's not going to be as involved with ESPN as Stephen A. has been for years.